In many parts of Africa, it is tradition for the father's father to name each child born into his family. The name he chooses blesses the child with the qualities he has dreamed will guide the newborn through life. Such was the case almost 300 years ago in an ancient village in Ghana. Envisioned the midnight sky, black, the white moon shining its mysterious smile on the baby girl cradled in the arms of an old man. Oye, oye, he calls out, a child has been born, and we must form a circle around her. Then lifting the infant skyward, he announces, I introduce to you, and the villagers lean in to hear the name to be spoken only by those who will cherish her. It is held secret from everyone else. This little girl was my great, 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 great grandmother. She was blessed with a name that endowed her with belief in herself. How do we here in the 21st century know this? We know because it is evident in how her descendants have lived their lives. 13 years after her naming ceremony, she was abducted, becoming nameless until the Madisons of Virginia bought her to be transformed into one of their many slaves. They renamed her Mandy. From the moment her feet left African soil, she never uttered her real name. Its secret power was in her knowledge that no one could truly own her. Though enslaved, she forever told herself, my life is mine because I am. Her enslaved descendants, in every moment of their invisible, silenced lives, reclaimed themselves from their enslavers by saying, I am. They meant, I am not property. Family stories reveal the bones of who you are. And the story Mandy passed down was the father of her baby girl, James Madison Sr., was also the father of the future president of the United States, James Madison Jr. Though Mandy probably chose a secret name for her daughter, the name she spoke out loud was Corinne. My family's oral history says that James Jr. became attracted to his half-sister Corinne, and around 1794, that attraction led to the birth of a son. The name Corinne spoke out loud was Jim. When Jim was in his teens, President Madison's wife, Dolly, sold Jim. As he was being taken away, Corinne pleaded with Jim, always remember, you're a Madison. Over the generations, that plea became my family's credo. Always remember, you're a Madison. You come from African slaves and a president. Mandy's descendants sold and then sold again ended up in Texas, where on June 19th, 1865, Juneteenth, they learned they were free. The name Madison reminded them that 5 generations of enslavement had not destroyed their belief in themselves, their sense of I am. Mandy's great-great-great-grandchildren grabbed onto their freedom and became a policeman, an alderman, entrepreneurs, landowners, homeowners, homemakers, all through the power of their dreams. A century later, when I was 16, that power was with me when I tried to interview for a summer job at a drugstore. The owner, puffing on a smelly cigar, took one look at me, leaned back in his big leather chair, and jowled, "I ain't about to have no colored gal working in my store." As I turned my back on that man, the I am in me came out as, "Your loss." You see, the only thing at risk for me that day was a summer job. He could never thwart my dream, my I am. I was going to be a doctor, like my dad and my dad's dad. We had gone from a history of being slaves to a tradition of being doctors. I became a pediatrician in inner city Boston, and I loved it. But all too often, my Black patients, especially teenage boys, revealed that racism had convinced them that nothing awaited them except jail or an early grave through violence. Just as their enslaved ancestors were told they were property, my patients were told they didn't have a future. My mom's dad, Mandy's great-great-great-great-grandson, had always said enslaved people believed in themselves, and that when they died, they passed down that same blessing to their descendants. If only my patients had seen how blessed they are. One of Dr. King's most famous quotes is, "I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they are not judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today." I once thought those words refer to how we are judged by others. I now believe Dr. King was also talking about how we judge ourselves. He wanted all Americans to dream and to believe in themselves. There are countless ways to say I am. I am. I am. I am. So, On the count of 3, I want you, right where you are, in any way you choose, and as loud as you're comfortable doing, to say, I am. Ready? Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. I am. Yes, you are.